You stumbled into a podcast. It's Binge-Watchers podcast with yours truly, Johnny Spoiler. I only spoil the movies that I love. Joined as always by Jordan Savage, the Savage Scream Queen, who can review a movie without having seen it. She can just hear about it, and she instantly has spider sense or Scream Queen knowledge. I haven't figured it out yet. It's a magical power. Anyway, yeah, that's the podcast you're listening to or watching if you've caught on to the fact that we have a YouTube channel. But we're here to talk about fantasy movies. We're going to have some fantasy movie vibes. That's our next series. It's like we're on a quest to bring you some fantasy themed, I don't know, sword slinging, tank girl driving adventures with kangaroos, all kinds of stuff. At least that's the first one that's up. So stay tuned.
Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice because it's the Binge-Watchers podcast.
Feel different, drink Sneak. With active ingredients for energy, focus, and concentration, Sneak helps you do more of what you love for longer. Sneak is a sugar-free energy formula you just mix with water for intense flavor, energy, and hydration. They've got a wide variety. Some are self-explanatory like sour apple or raspberry lemonade. Some are less obvious like bubblegum millions, but they're all sweet, sharp, and fruity. Each serving of Sneak contains 150 milligrams of caffeine, about the equivalent of 2 cups of coffee. They've done the math so you don't have to. Sneak starts at about $1 per serving, working out a better way for your wallet than traditional energy drinks. You get all the benefits, less of the cost. Sneak is a clean energy formula that improves your performance without all the junk. They've packed Sneak full of amino acids, vitamins, and minerals, and added caffeine. Your energy levels will increase, your focus will be sharper, and you'll be refreshingly hydrated. So grab our Sneak Energy link in the show notes and try it out today. Let's dive into some home video headlines. Let's see what's going on in the world of TV and movies. There's actually this classic horror movie called The Last Horror Film with this, I don't know if he's like a notorious figure in like 1980s horror movies and just like horror movies in general. Joe Spinell. He was in this famous horror movie called Maniac, and he's done a few other things, but they're given like the 4K HD treatment, you know, with all the special features. So if you're a Maniac fan, if you're a Joe Spinell fan, if you're a horror movie fan, I'd say add it to the collection. Maybe put it on the list. I'm sure somebody's ripped like a copy of The Last Horror Film on the internet. It's kind of a cool premise. It's like a dude wants to be in horror movies so badly that he gets obsessed with a horror movie actress and then like stalks her for the movie, you know?
Okay.
Could easily end up on like a summer slash lineup, but it's like, if I'm too familiar with the horror movies, it's like why spend the whole summer watching them? Like it's got to be a grab bag, you know what I mean? It's got to be like shocking and surprising. Anyway, we actually just wrapped up summer slash for the year, and now we're dipping our toes into like magical waters. I didn't know where I was going with that one.
I like it.
Yeah. Oh, an oasis of magic. Speaking of fantasy trope things, the original Dragon Ball Z films, so like the standalones, side quests, and some of the movies were later incorporated into canon, like some of the later Dragon Ball Z movies and also Dragon Ball Super movies are like canon in the Dragon Ball series, but some of the other movies are not canon. It's confusing. But there's like 15 movies. Crunchyroll has started rolling them out, including like the classic movies that were made for Dragon Ball Z in like 89, 1990. So that's like a movie called Dead Zone, which kind of has like a horror movie feel to it. Like we don't have time. Like we would have to spend 2 hours trying to unwrap what Dragon Ball is. There's a monkey kid whose name is Goku. He's based on Chinese mythology, but he's in a Japanese cartoon based on a Japanese manga by Shonen Jump and a famous Japanese artist whose name escapes me. But anyway, there's like, I don't know, between Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Super, there's like almost 300 episodes of adventures.
Oh my goodness.
And well, Dragon Ball is when Goku's a little kid and he has like a monkey tail, and it's pretty cool. And it's before you know that he's like an alien from another planet, blah blah blah. You know, but he fights like monsters and demons and dragons and whatever. And the Dragon Balls are like magic, right? So if you catch the Dragon Balls, you get a wish. Here I am. I've now spent 10 minutes, 20 minutes trying to like, I'm not going to do it, guys. I'm not going to sit here and explain Dragon Ball anime. And then I find myself doing it. Anyway, the movies have started to be loaded to Crunchyroll. So if you want to go back and watch all these movies, you can. It's pretty cool. And it has that exaggerated 90s style, at least in Dead Zone. Like they kidnapped Goku's kid, and it's like one of the first movies they made. And then he's like basically in a haunted castle fighting like three like notorious like monster type dudes, right? So
I'd probably put that on the top of my list. I don't know. That sounds like something that I would like.
When it cuts to like armies of demons in the shadows and it's playing like that hardcore 80s, 90s soundtrack, you're like, oh, this is like so anime, right? So then I found out that they're gonna do finally coming out with the Minx season 2. They're calling it Getting Bigger, Going Harder. Bottom dollar is back on Minx season 2. That's the advertisement. It drops here. It drops in July, like 21st on STARZ. You can obviously rewatch season 1 on STARZ. It was a show they saved from HBO before HBO disappeared and became Max. They took over their show, and it's really good.
Was that the one that you recommended to me?
Yeah.
I did watch it too. I really liked it. So they are doing a season 2.
Yeah, I watched the trailer the other day. Anyway, it has some foibles though. The trailer looks like a show that knows it's a good show, so now it has too much show. Does that make sense? Like the first one was kind of indie.
It's like show's getting too big for itself almost. In a way.
Too big for your britches, too popular.
Yeah, too big for your britches.
Another show was like that. Maybe Ted Lasso. There's a couple other shows that like it's once people catch on and it's super mainstream. It's like the next season is always like 10 times bigger. You're like, oh, it lost some of its vibe, you know, like that made it really interesting. But anyway, season 2 looks good. Again, they say getting bigger, going harder, bottom dollar is back. Like, sounds like an ad. Tonight's movie is Tank Girl. Basically, well, the prehistory says a comet disrupts the rain cycle on Earth, and now it's a desert. And there's an evil corporation called Water and Power that controls all the water. And then Tank Girl and the rebels, and then a bunch of kangaroo guys called Rippers fight back against the corrupt corporation. Tank Girl is Lori Petty. Malcolm McDowell said that the movie has the same flavor as Clockwork Orange, which I thought that's a pretty cool statement for him to boost an indie movie like this. Is it giving too much away to say that the movie's not as good as Clockwork Orange? You know what I mean? Like, right at the top, be like, they're not in the same category, but it's nice to hear that the star, say that it has the same kind of crazy science fiction flavor to it or whatever. If I say too much, I'm going to give away my whole opinion. The movies, the characters. So I got to slow down, and I'm gonna kick it over to Jordan for some savage stats about Tank Girl.
Don't get too big for your britches now. Wow, I've got a lot of stats, so I'm going to try to just.
Oh, Jordan, I did. If you want to. I just want to interrupt her real quick to say, like, I fly to the close to the sun every day. I need to wear sunblock. My life is a roller coaster.
Oh man, I feel that. Yeah. Okay, let's do a couple here. Of course, Tank Girl was a comic, so I thought that was pretty interesting. Read a little bit about like the basis of that, but Alan Martin and Jamie Hewlett were the creators of the comic. They spoke poorly of their experiences in creating the film, calling it a bit of a sore point for them. Hewlett said the script was lousy. Me and Alan kept rewriting it.
Was lousy? The script?
The script, yeah. The script was lousy, and putting Grange Hill jokes and Benny Hill jokes in it, and they obviously weren't getting it. So maybe it just wasn't a hit in it for them in terms of the jokes that they were trying to put into the actual script. There was also a lot of scenes that were not, they didn't make it into the final cut, so they had to animate them. Or wasn't in the actual filmmaking, so they had to animate those scenes.
It's clear the movie didn't have enough money to build all the sets and set pieces that they had to do for all the fantasy or science fiction elements. They relied heavily. It looks like they filmed panels of the comic book and just stuck it in the movie.
Which I thought when I was reading about more of the comic, it was saying that was a lot similar to like the way, what do they call it in comics? Like strips. Like the strips were kind of a little bit chaotic. And so I thought at least that was kind of on par with like the original way the comic was designed. I thought, and I'm going to just go out on them here because this is kind of one of my favorite stats here, is that there was supposed to be a sex scene between Tank Girl, Rebecca, and her boyfriend, Booga, who is like half kangaroo. He's half man. And they spent $5,000 on a prosthetic wiener. So, and I was like, that's kind of a lot of money.
Like, where's the uncut version of Tank?
Let's see it. I want to see what this prosthetic kangaroo wiener looks like. But of course, MGM did not allow that to make the cut in the final movie. Steven Spielberg was asked to produce the film, but declined because he felt he was not hip enough for it. And this led to the slogan for the movie, "Too Hip for Spielberg." So I thought that was kind of cool. So that's going to be my savage stats for Tank Girl.
I did not know about the kangaroo wiener, so that's the savage stats are hitting really hard for this episode.
Literally. It was like 10 inches too. I was reading. It was like a 10-inch
perfect size
prosthetic. Yeah, especially for a
sounds accurate to nature.
Oh man.
We'll be right back after these messages with our favorite bits from Tank Girl. Getting bigger, going harder. The Bottom Dollar Crew is back. Minx Season 2 premieres July 21 on STARZ. Catch up on Season 1 on the STARZ app. You can grab a special offer of STARZ with our affiliate link in the show notes. Look, we've all heard of Netflix and chill. But sometimes it's not easy to chill when you're dealing with ED. That's why there's Eddie, a revolutionary device designed to help you with symptoms of erectile dysfunction. Designed by urologists, Eddie is the FDA Class 2 medical device that's been shown to help men increase intimacy levels with their partners. If you're looking for an easy way to boost your confidence in the sheets, give Eddie a try. And put your performance anxiety to bed. Right now you can save 20% on Eddie. Go to buyeddie.com/binge-watchers and use the code BINGE20 for 20% off. Fast forward your way past performance issues and try Eddie today. Live sports and TV without cable? Start your free trial, no commitment, cancel anytime. Maybe you can check out the new Ryan Reynolds channel on Fubo TV. Grab our affiliate link in the show notes to sign up and try out Fubo TV. Feel different, drink Sneak. With active ingredients for energy, focus, and concentration, Sneak helps you do more of what you love for longer. Sneak is a sugar-free energy formula you just mix with water for intense flavor, energy, and hydration. They've got a wide variety. Some are self-explanatory like sour apple or raspberry lemonade. Some are less obvious like bubblegum millions, but they're all sweet, sharp, and fruity. Each serving of Sneak contains 150 milligrams of caffeine, about the equivalent of 2 cups of coffee. They've done the math so you don't have to. Sneak starts at about $1 per serving, working out a better way for your wallet than traditional energy drinks. You get all the benefits, less of the cost. Sneak is a clean energy formula that improves your performance without all the junk. They've packed Sneak full of amino acids, vitamins, and minerals, and added caffeine. Your energy levels will increase, your focus will be sharper, and you'll be refreshingly hydrated. So grab our Sneak Energy link in the show notes and try it out today. Jordan, we're supposed to be promoting this new energy drink, which is their mascot's like a rabbit. However, now all I'm thinking about is kangaroos, specifically kangaroo penises, because Jordan mentioned it a few minutes ago, right before the messages. And like, so I'm thinking there's like a world-class beef jerky store in Cape Cod. I think it's in it's either Hyannis or Yarmouth, but it's like the big world of jerky. But you can get kangaroo jerky, right? However, I'm thinking like meat processing companies probably grind up all the meat. So I'm like, oh, you're definitely eating kangaroo penis when you buy kangaroo jerky. I can almost guarantee it. That should be on the label. Like, hey, it's all penis.
It's all penis.
Yeah. And if that was in the movie, if they had kept that in the movie, that'd have been my favorite scene. Like, I'm all for Oh,
For
spoiler
sure.
alert. I love bestiality sex scenes. I've seen Howard the Duck, okay? His girlfriend is a human and he's a duck, you know? A guy
was
can
a rec-
dream. That's why they're called
It-
fantasies, because it's not real. I'm not going to
It
go out
was
and have sex with a duck or a kangaroo. But if they had included
Yeah.
the kangaroo penis in this movie, I'd have watched it. I may have watched it a couple times. Maybe the movie would have won an Academy Award for special effects. We don't know because they cut it out of the movie and Steven Spielberg didn't direct it. If he directed a kangaroo penis in a kangaroo penis movie, the sky's the limit.
See, I'm like, that probably would have bumped it up a little bit for me
Yeah.
if there was a massive kangaroo.
It'd have been an art film rather than just a science fiction fantasy movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, until she told me about the kangaroo penis and I got distracted, I was going to say Ice-T is a kangaroo.
He is.
Just Google that. Ice-T is a kangaroo. If you don't know Ice-T, you might know him as a plucky detective on one of those Law and Order shows. I think that's what most people probably know him as. However, he's a hip hop icon. He's an actor's actor, and he's a kangaroo in this movie. I didn't know they were called. I forgot they were called Rippers. I just thought they were called Roos. But I guess it's actually another movie that has kangaroo mutants that calls them Roos. What is the name of that movie? It's a martial arts movie where each kangaroo represents an element. Oh man!
Wow.
Is it called Way of the Warrior?
The fact that there's more than one kangaroo mutant movie, this was the first time I've ever seen them. So I was like, okay.
It's very Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, kind of. But there's more kangaroos in this movie than there are turtles. There's like 8 or 9 kangaroos. Yeah. Anyway, my notes are like, Ice-T is a kangaroo, let that sink in. You know. So anyway.
He has bloody quotes too. Apparently he was teased that he was like in this movie by a TV host, and he was like, I was paid $800,000 to do it. And then the host just like,
if you're paid $800K, why wouldn't you be a kangaroo? If I was paid $800K, I'd be like, strap that penis on me, let's go.
Yes,
let's go. Oh man, $800,000 to be a kangaroo. That sounds like you fucking made it. That's like, I did not realize it was that much. I thought it was like the movie ruined his career and he was paid like a few $100,000 or maybe only a few like 8,000, 10,000. You're paid almost $1 million to show up as a kangaroo. It's funny that they incorporated like his 90s look though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the future, but it's a broken future, which is based on the pop culture at the time the movie's made. And so everything's like the 90s, even though it's 2033. Yeah, we're in favorite bits already. I didn't tell Jordan to officially do favorite bits, but clearly we're in favorite bits.
Okay. I'll obviously the fashion was like a huge part of it. The costume design. I loved like the Playboy sweater on one of the Rippers. But my favorite scene was the scene where Rebecca, who's Tank Girl, goes to rescue Sam. She's the young girl from like, I guess her previous compound. I don't know what else you call it. But Sam is captured and imprisoned by Water and Power, and she gets sent to this like gentleman's club sort of whorehouse, and it's called Liquid Silver. And I really love, like, obviously the costume design of the girls who are performers in the gentleman's club, but just that whole scene. Like, I love when Rebecca, who is Tank Girl, is like in the dressing room and she's messing with the like, I guess automated, costume designer, and she's just messing it up the whole place. And I love that she goes and rescues Sam from the madame, whatever you want to call it with a little accent, but she goes and rescues her and holds her up at gunpoint and then forces them all to sing Let's Do It. And then it kind of like breaks out into song and dance, and I just like loved the actual dance scene and like the scene itself. And she's like holding everybody up at gunpoint and making them sing the song as well. So that was
what's funny? Like the fans criticize the movie for that scene online, also because like there's several scenes where the bad guys that are interacting with Tank Girl, and they're like, they could get Tank Girl, or Tank Girl could get away. They're talking about how casual everybody is, right? Like, even with the villains, whatever. I let it go. I mean, it's a flight of fantasy. It's like one of my favorite things, like defies the laws of physics. So they say like it couldn't take enough water out of the body, but like one of my favorite things is the water bottle mechanism that the bad guy stabs into his captain that he feels betrayed by. And it sucks the water out of his body, fills up the water bottle, and he drinks it, right? And that's like, And that's the scene to establish how bad the bad guy is, right? But I just like the idea that you could have a tool that like takes water out of the human body.
Right.
I thought it was.
It was a cool contraction of how it like expanded too, as like
Yeah.
water's getting sucked out of the body. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else are some of your favorite bits?
Well, that's it. That was it. The
Okay.
water
cool.
bottle torture mechanism that you can drink the humans. You can drink the humans if they betrayed you, and Ice-T's a kangaroo. It's one of the best Google searches ever. If you just Google Ice-T's a kangaroo, you're gonna have fun. The other thing is Ice-T Leprechaun, because Ice-T is in one of the Leprechaun movies where he's fighting Warwick Davis in Leprechaun in the Hood. I think, yeah, Leprechaun in the Hood, which is like the 5th movie of the original Leprechaun lineup with the original Leprechaun actor. And it's like, it gets, it's like Leprechaun to the streets, So like, look that up. Ice-T Leprechaun. Google that. You'll have fun. I promise. We're in ratings. Yeah, we can jump in and rate the movie, I think. We say binge now, binge later, binge never, which means binge now, move it to the top of your playlist, watch it as your next thing. Later, get around to it. It'll entertain you. Doesn't have to be at the top of the list. Or never simply means you can't get the 2 hours back in your line for 90 minutes or whatever it is, so don't bother.
It was a binge never for me.
Oh, she's never going to watch it.
I don't know. Again. It was just too chaotic. Like, it was so much chaos. And
all the bad things from the 90s?
Script was like
tropes, but they don't hit?
Well, and I did think that the script was like kind of lame. I don't know. It was like almost too, like, I love cheeky and I love goofy, and it's both of these things, but it's just like not my brand of like cheeky, goofy, cheesy. And so it just kind of didn't hit it for me. Aside from like obviously the really cool
have you ever dropped a never on the show before? I don't think you've ever gone negative. Have you?
God.
Have you gone?
I always bring up Robot Jocks.
That's right. One of her first like her first, it's like, was that your first movie we asked you to review, or the second or third movie?
It was like within the first couple of months that I was like on board.
Yeah.
It
was like a test. It was like a test to see if she could roll on Binge-Watchers podcast. It was like, if you watch Robot Jocks, you can get through anything.
Yeah. But like, this wasn't like as far down on the list as Robot Jocks. Like, obviously the set design was super cool. Like, I loved the like style, the very like cyberpunk look, but aside from that, it just like didn't do it for me. It was
so for me, it's like a David Bowie album. Let's say like you like 3 or 4 of David Bowie's albums, and you're like, oh, I gotta listen to the one he made right before he died, and it's not that great, but it's like one of the last ones he'll make. So it's kind of like you have 4 albums of a musician you like, you're gonna go get the 5th album, right? Or you're gonna track it down. So I like Lori Petty, who plays Tank Girl. By the way, it also has Naomi Watts playing Jet Girl before she was famous for being Naomi Watts. She's in this movie. But if you'd seen Lori Petty in Point Break, Free Willy, or League of Their Own as the sister competing with Gina Davis, you're like, what other thing is Lori Petty like the star of? Oh, Lori Petty is Tank Girl. I'm going to go watch Tank Girl. And then you go, oh yeah, just like the David Bowie thing. Okay, it's not the best album. However, I want all the albums. You know what I mean? Like, so you don't have a choice. I don't got a choice. I mean, maybe Jordan has a choice. She's a little bit younger than me. And Lori Petty didn't hit her at the right age. And also, look, I don't think it's a great movie, but it does a couple things. It has Ice-T as a kangaroo and it has Lori Petty. So there's a couple elements that win me back, right? So it's a binge later. I'm not saying run out and see it, but I'm saying you've watched all these wacky movies and like you need one more wacky movie. Here it is.
On the prosthetic.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you want Jordan to binge this movie? You add a kangaroo penis. It changes the ratings. Immediately changes the ratings for everyone. Fan service. What are the fans doing? Let's feedback from our fans. I read one comment that's kind of complicated, but it basically breaks down to 2 elements. They were surprised that they watched our entire video, and then they also were surprised they liked it very much. I'm like, what a backwards, asswards, sleight of hand compliment. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe I found this video. Oh, I actually watched it. Oh, I actually like it. Thanks.
So funny. Oh,
well,
man.
Take it. Staff picks. Did we watch anything else we want to tell people about right off the top, I won't feel bad if Jordan doesn't have a staff pick because I really don't. I've been super distracted. I'm not really watching anything. This is not the summer that it's cracked up to be so far, folks. I won't go into my personal drama, but I'm not having too much fun this summer. So all my plans are kind of waylaid. I'm trying to fix these things that are going on, so I'm not watching really anything. I actually don't feel that bad. Like, our problems are maybe not as big. I was listening to another show, and they lost a sponsor, and they lost like 9 ads. I was like, oh yeah, that's a lot. You know what I mean? But sponsors, they're also like roller coaster waves. That's all I can say. I can't make fun of sponsors. I made the mistake of like making fun of sponsors like 2 years ago, and then a new sponsor's like, well, I want to sponsor you, but I listened to your episode where you're making fun of this other sponsor. How'd that go?
Can you run in your mouth?
I'm running my mouth. Jeez. Why? Because I got a microphone or a podcast, and there's no, you just stick it out there and it goes out. Like,
I did watch something though. I watched some of the new episodes of Black Mirror. Kind of goes alongside of like fantasy, and so they were the first two that I watched were really, really good. So I watched Lock Henry, which is super great. It's like, it's more on the horror side where this girl and guy go to visit his mom in this like beautiful looking town in Ireland or something. So it's kind of deserted. The tourism's no longer there, and it's because there was this murder that had happened, and they go to essentially take a look at it, and it was like close, not the actual specific murder, but the site of what had happened. And so they're both film students, and they decide to, instead of do what the original project was supposed to do, was to create more of like an investigative film about the horrors that had taken place. And so I'm just going to leave it at that. It was super good. I really liked it. There was a twist in it that I had not seen coming. And then I watched the episode called, I think it's like, I'll have to.
Did you watch the one where the girl becomes Did you watch the one where the girl becomes the Netflix special?
That one was pretty funny. I thought that was interesting. Yeah. Because then there's like all these alternate realities going on too, right? She's like watching it play out in front of her. It was called Beyond the Sea.
I thought you were going to tell me that the new season had a kangaroo penis.
It could. I don't know. I haven't finished it yet. So, but Beyond the Sea with Aaron Paul, I love him so much, but it's super good because it's like he's an astronaut in space with his co-pilot, and they have, I guess you could call it like, they're almost like lookalikes down. They're genetically modified or AI or whatever, like their consciousness.
So there is a kangaroo penis involved.
There's something like that. So their consciousness though can be passed between both. So it's either with their real body up in space, or it's with their, I don't know,
their avatar. They can
their
jump
avatar. Yeah, we'll call it an avatar. I don't know what they call it in the movie though, but it's wild. It kind of has this like Charles Manson cult that comes into it.
No.
It's super crazy. Yeah, they kill one of the avatars because they don't think it's like right in the world. But that's not the spoiler. But yeah, watch it because what plays out.
Do you think if I put I said raccoon? Do you think if I put kangaroo penis in the title of the episode, it's going to trigger the algorithms to drop the censors on us?
I was like, can I say wiener on the podcast? I was a little worried.
Yeah, the scientific term I think is penile. No, I don't know.
You do kangaroo prosthetic. I don't know.
Kangaroo prosthetic.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I could put that in the title because people are like, what are you talking about?
Like, yeah, there you go. It's a teaser. So, but yeah,
let's see what
I watched.
Nice. I forgot about that show. Black Mirror. I like the one that was like a Star Trek spoof where the guy downloads the people and they're stuck in his game or whatever. And there was one with Miley Cyrus is pretty trippy too, with like I forget what happens to her. She becomes like a doll, or there's like an AI bot based on her life. And that one's weird. What's going on with the show? Actually, hot damn! Next week we're gonna do a classic, NeverEnding Story, which is kind of like This is top shelf fantasy from the 1980s. If Jordan passes on this movie because it doesn't have prosthetics, we're in trouble.
I've tried to watch it so many times and I just like can't get over the initial hump. So I'm glad I'm going to be forced to sit in my seat and watch it. So
this is going to be a hard month for you because unlike anime, like fantasy is probably you go along with it or you can't go along with it. You know what I mean? Like, so I think this is going to be a rocky road. However, it's going to be real fun to see if we can win her over. Well, last year, some of the stuff
fantasy.
we liked.
Yeah, I love
we
fantasy,
did like last year. We did Legend. We had fun with that. We did that cartoon Fire and Ice. That was fun. So yeah, we did Water Planet, which is called like really called like Ice Planet or Ice Pirates or whatever.
Ice Pirates.
Ice Pirates, classic. So yeah, I think we might. Well, let's see which one wins over Jordan. Yeah. Anyway,
stay tuned.
I mean, there's a big evil wolf dog called like Gamok, and Atreyu, who's the hero, is like, face me, Gamok. And there's a big stone guy who's like, with these big strong hands, I tried to hold on to my son. So there's a lot of good stuff, dude. The nothing is coming for everybody in this movie. I like, yeah, it's a scary thing. It's like a force of nature villain. I mean,
I'm ready.
I'm like trying to sell it to her right now at the end of this episode. Montrose does a good job, but it's a gold standard movie. So anyway,
I'm ready.
After Tank Girl put to bed, man, what am I looking for?
Did you have high hopes for that one for Tank Girl?
No, because I know it's not a great movie, but it has elements that are interesting. That's all I can say. Still learning what movies Jordan considers a treat and which movies Jordan doesn't like, because I thought maybe she'd be like, oh yeah, Tank Girl, badass Tank Girl hero. But yeah, the movie's not great.
I do love a good, strong lady lead. So I could see that. I'm ready for fantasy. So bring it on.
The NeverEnding Story has a childlike empress. That's all I'll say. I won't say anything else. And a big dog dragon, which has been featured in like everything from Family Guy to freaking commercials. Falcor.
Literally everything. See, I like know elements of the movie. I've just never I think it was a little older for me, before I came into this world. And
everything's timing. She's like,
it really is.
A dog dragon? Is it a dragon or a dog?
I don't get that particular, but
does it have a prosthetic? Sure. In the uncut NeverEnding Story, NeverEnding prosthetic version.
Oh, you said NeverEnding prosthetic. Okay.
Yeah.